Hey, there we go. All right, let's do a sound sync, right? Take two. Hey, everybody. Today I saw this music video that an artist that I really admire created as a side project. And it's this happy, upbeat, jovial song that's kind of bouncing and jamming. And the thing is, the lyrics are predictably ironic. And it's all about disassociation. We're trying to deliberately create this really happy vibe because the world is just falling apart around us. It's just chaos, right? And I've actually been talking with my therapist about a lot of the struggles that I personally have with dealing with things that are outside of my control. And one of the things that I was doing, and I have been doing for many, many years, is fantasizing that I have control and fantasizing that I have sometimes even fantastical powers and just me being able to fix all of these things that are wrong. And it was a coping mechanism to try and deal with the chaos and the difficulties and challenges of the world that we're in. And it came in the form sometimes of a lot of anger. I was really angry, and I was allowing that anger to translate into fantasies that involved a lot of really angry energy, even if that anger is just, if it's directed at horrible things. And so I talked to my therapist about it. And one of the things I deliberately mentioned to them is that I wanted to stop doing that. Now, a quick aside, like fantasizing on its own, I suppose, isn't really that bad of a thing. It's probably not that much of a surprise that I would fantasize about things, considering I'm doing this video as a cartoon otter in a pretend Brooklyn. But I was approaching it from the perspective of, I've really got to stop doing this. It's really bad. When my therapist said, well, why do you see that as bad? I was like, I thought it would have to be, right? It would have to be bad to be fantasizing about magical powers that could stop things. Like, that's got to be bad, right? Especially if it's like really angry and I'm like, stopping someone forcibly by like causing them harm. I mean, like that's not a healthy fantasy, right? He said, well, you're in a situation where you're not able to exercise power. The most natural thing in the world is to get angry and frustrated at the fact that you can't control these things. And yet, these things you can't control, they still affect you. And so you have to deal with the consequences. And those that you love and care about, they have to deal with the consequences. So it's pretty natural to get really angry about it. He's like, help yourself understand why you do this, for one, but then for two, why do you want to stop? And I said, well, sometimes it makes me feel physically unwell. I get stress headaches. I feel like it's driving up my blood pressure. And on the other hand, I'd like to be able to soothe myself when those feelings happen. I'd like to be able to, when I feel that frustration and that anger just come in, being able to back away from it instead of buying into it and just amplifying it because I feel like I'm just spinning my wheels. I'm just not getting anything done. I'm not productive. I'm not doing things. He's like, stop. You're not being productive. That statement means that you're expecting something of yourself. You're refocusing it into something that you're being critical of yourself. You're not being kind to yourself. You're actually amplifying the anger by being frustrated at yourself for being angry in the first place. It was a realization that I really kind of needed somebody else to be able to say to me, no, it's okay. It's okay for you to be angry. It's okay for you to be frustrated. It's even okay for you to fantasize about being able to fix problems that ultimately you have no control over. You have no power over them. Emphasize where you can, emphasize and work on the things that you can change and focus on the things where you do have power. There's not this like objective good or bad when it comes to my own mental health. It's more about being aware, having this awareness of, what's the root cause? Go deeper. Go deeper as to why you're angry. So that was a moment. That was kind of a revelation. I'm going back kind of to this music video, right? Bouncing around in life, trying to have good vibes only and trying to be happy, and we're literally lying to ourselves about the fact that we're dissociating and we're disconnecting deliberately from what's happening in the world. And in our own ways, we're fantasizing. Even if we're fantasizing just by smiling at work, with friends, with family, just by looking happy, even when we know there's so many things under this surface that we're feeling or we're suppressing the feelings of, so that just we can function. We can earn a paycheck that we still need to earn so that we can still pay rent. And then sometimes it's also where we have to put on this face, we have to put on this smile, we have to be happy because we're so terrified that if we aren't happy, that our friends and our loved ones won't want to be around us. They're just going to say, oh, well, they're not being happy anymore. That makes them hard to be around. I'm going to put them at a further distance away. So now all of a sudden, on top of being sad and struggling and frustrated or angry, we're more alone. It's terrifying. I tend to be more extroverted than introverted. And so I can enjoy time by myself, but I tend to more recharge my emotional energy, for lack of a better term, by spending time with people. And I'm starting to learn that it's not like this gauge that goes left and right where you've got, oh, well, on this side I'm introverted, on this side I'm extroverted. No, it's actually more about when I want to connect with certain emotions. The positive emotions that I get from being with people, it helps me. And sometimes it's like dissociating. Sometimes it's just, yep, I'm going to be happy now. We're going to have a party. We're going to have some drinks. I'm going to dance. This is going to be great. I'm going to talk about stupid stuff. I'm going to be a ridiculous cartoon otter in a virtual world and hang out with a bunch of friends here because it literally has nothing to do with reality. On the other hand, very often I seek out and I spend time with the people who I know I can trust and who I know that I can actually be not happy with, and I can talk about it. And they can talk about it. And it's okay for them to not be happy. And those are the friendships that I have always found to be the most genuine. Sometimes even that is so challenging. It's challenging for us. It's challenging for our friends because sometimes we're just not in a space where we have the spoons to be able to have deep conversations, even if our friend needs it or we need it. Maybe they don't have the spoons. I've also been trying to work on having more awareness about where someone else is, what it is that they need. I want to prioritize others so that they feel like they're willing to prioritize me if I need it. It's not supposed to be an exchange, right? It's not supposed to be I'm only being kind or being nice because I want them to give me something. But in some ways, I guess it is kind of like that in terms of not going away. Like that's if I wanted to say like one thing that I could always wish from my friends, it's like, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me alone. Please don't go away. As someone who has had people that he was really close to up and vanish, just disappear from my life. I've had 3 different people who were really close friends of them, like some of them from my childhood, that just went, I'm not going to be around you anymore. And they didn't even say that. They just disappeared. They just left. It took me a long time and like talking with my therapist to understand that that was trauma. That was trauma. I never realized it before. I never thought about it that way. And that trauma makes me really, really, really scared sometimes about not being happy around my friends or telling people that I think are close friends really personal things about myself because I'm so scared that I'm just going to say one thing one day that they go, oh, wow, oh, okay, didn't know that about you. I'm just going to go over here. I'm trying to make that not about me. for a long time, I just blamed myself. I just said, well, obviously I did something wrong, or I've offended them, or there's something really wrong with me, and that's the reason why they don't want to hang around with me, is that there's something broken in me. It could be just something that they're dealing with, and that for whatever reason, they just needed to say to themselves, I just need to go. It's a real struggle. In some ways, I'm trying to be like more self aware, but that also comes with that awareness is where my own boundary ends and where it becomes something that's most likely nothing to do with me at all. It's really liberating when you think about it, because if it's not all about you, it's not all on you. You don't have to fix everything. You don't have to feel like every bad thing that happens in your life is somehow your fault, because it's not all about you. I've always wanted to think about myself as not being self centered. I've always tried to be generous. I've always tried to be there. I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me that I'm a really good listener and that they really appreciate the fact that I've been able to be there for them at tough times in their life. That's a big compliment to me. But I still had a part of me that I think was missing a certain required level of awareness. And as a result, there was a self centeredness that wasn't about like greed or self satisfaction, but it was about because I can't fix everything, it's my fault. In my life, I've probably made things worse by trying to fix things that frankly weren't my place to fix. No one asked me to. I just kind of acted out of turn. There wasn't any responsibility there. It wasn't my job, or it wasn't something that I should be expected to do. And I would do it because either I felt like no one else is going to fix this, so I've got to do it. Or on the other hand, it's about someone I care about, and it doesn't seem like anybody else is going to do something to help them. There's a part of me that I think probably self-inflated my ego to a degree when people told me that I was a good listener, that I was really there for them at certain times, and I felt like, I know what I'm doing. I'll be able to help these people. I can help everybody, and I'm not a therapist. I've only, for the first time in my entire life, very recently had a therapist that I actually said, holy crap, they actually get me. That's been world changing. Not just for me, it's been world changing for my partner, it's been world changing for my friends. And I think that that's something that really kind of validates the fact that self awareness is this form of selflessness, because you're now able to know when you can help and when you can't help. You can know when it is your responsibility to do something or when you need to take a step back. It's not all about you. And that's a really great thing. It's the best. It's okay. Don't be mad at yourself about it. Don't feel inadequate about it. We all need to just learn about ourselves and know ourselves. And that's going to make so much of a difference in how we interact with others, in how we are kind to ourselves, all of that. And I'm not a therapist, not giving advice that you should necessarily consider ultra reliable. You're talking to a cartoon otter in the middle of fake Brooklyn, so you know, take everything here with a grain of salt. But it's been something that I needed to learn about myself, and if it's something that you need to learn about yourself, I encourage you to do it, and I encourage you to do it by whatever means works for you. It could be spending more time with yourself, maybe spending more time with friends, maybe it's reconciling things with family, maybe it's stepping away from family, the relatives, and finding the people who are able to stay with you even when you are not optimal. There's a lot of emphasis on this kind of, unless you're able to produce something for me in our relationship, you're not of value and therefore you have no merit in this situation. Like that meritocracy concept kind of like can extend to our interactions. learning when you need to walk away from that. Again, the advice of a cartoon aviator. And why am I doing this? Partially because I needed to, partially because I feel like saying this helps me feel better because I'm voicing what's rattling around in the marbles up inside of this skull of mine, at least the marbles that are still there. I also wanted to say it if there's anyone else out there who is struggling with trying to keep it all together when you feel like everything that you took for granted, everything that you think is going to be okay, is suddenly just kind of falling apart. And you're just thrashing against the walls of your emotions, just trying to bore your way through into some kind of point of understanding or something that can ease the frustration and just make it so that you can get through the day. I see you. I see you. Okay? And as someone who has been at these moments of blackness where I feel like we might as well just blow up the world, forget it. Why are we bothering? As someone who's been there, I'm going to tell you that right now, I'm not there. Do I still have days when I'm the guy in that music video, in this trolley, forcibly playing happy music to try and dissociate from the horrors around me? Yes, I'm still going to be there. That's still going to happen. But right now, in this moment, I'm okay. And you can be too. I have no premonition, I have no way of knowing that 2023 is going to be any better or any worse than 2022 or anything. I can't tell you that everything is going to be okay. I can tell you, though, that I know firsthand that you can come from where you're not. You're not okay. And you don't feel like you're ever going to be okay. And that you can feel okay again. I can't guarantee it'll last forever, because of course it won't. But it comes back around. When someone sees you, it's the best feeling of not being alone ever. And I feel like the best way to get seen is to be able to start with seeing yourself. Because now, with that awareness and seeing yourself and being kind to yourself, then you can actually start to be the most genuine you to the people around you. As RuPaul says, if you can't learn to love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen? Because how are you going to be able to find your true family? Be the real you. Be the real you. And if sometimes being the real you sends some people away, it's hard. I know it is. It's happened to me and I get it. You will be okay. And you will find your community and your tribe and the people who really fulfill you. It might not happen tomorrow, but it's a process, like so many other things, right? Hopefully, these ridiculous ramblings have made some sense to you, and hopefully, it resonates with you, and you feel like you're just that tiniest bit less alone. Because we might all be our own individuals, but in our own way, we're all in this together. Anyway, I hope that you have a great night. I hope work doesn't suck, and that you get some time to be with the people who make you feel like you matter. Or you get some time to be by yourself with your favorite book and not have anybody bother you at all. Or maybe you come hang with me, you know? Who knows? I'll see you next time, okay? I love you.